Thanks for being here for today's work session. We have a light work session agenda. We also have a pretty light, although there are some things of great significance on the council agenda. So as we go through this, I want everybody to please do our best to get to the point. We're going to try to get through the work session, the committee updates, the department head updates, the agenda, and then we will go right into the city council meeting. We will not take up the ordinances until at least 6 o'clock, but we'll probably get you all out of here not too much after 6 o'clock tonight, so you'll get a couple hours of your life back maybe. So if y'all can help me out with that, it'd be much appreciated. So with that, the first item on tonight's agenda be Jillian Nichols, Fairhope Junior City Council project, benches for Flying Creek Nature Preserve. Hey, Jillian.
Hey, I'm really tall. I gotta move that up.
What was that?
I just gotta move it.
Oh.
All right, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So the Fairhope Junior City Council is proposing to build 2 benches for the Flying Creek Nature Preserve with approximate cost between $250 to $300, depending on the cost of materials. The Public Work Department has agreed to assist with purchasing the materials and placement of the benches. We plan on working with the Fairhope High School Engineering Department for help building the benches. Then get together to paint and place the benches in the preserve, and the city has agreed to approve the artwork.
Very good. Do you have any ideas what that artwork's going to be yet? Do you have some thoughts?
We have some thoughts. It's a lot of it, but some of the things we're thinking are either just like staining it, or we're all gonna like make individual like designs that kind of like represent who we are and like what we do, and like sign our names, little handprints.
Okay. Council, we did go ahead and preempt this and put this as number 8 on tonight's agenda, so you will be asked to vote on this tonight. Might be one of your easier decisions this week that you have to make, but I don't know. Do you have any questions for Ms. Nichols?
Great job.
Yeah, it sounds like a good project.
Yeah, we're looking for, and tell me, where are they going to be in the nature preserve? Do you know yet? Mayor, do you know?
I don't know yet, and Justin's not here, but, no, we haven't talked about where they're gonna be, but there's.
Will they get to discuss that, so they get, have a little input on all that?
Talk about placement of them. The other thing is if you walk through the park right now while they're doing construction, you'll see some pads for benches, so they already have some locations designated. So I'm sure that will be where they're gonna go, but I just don't know which area they'll put them in.
What are they gonna do?
I think 2.
They're gonna do 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for those of you who don't know, in the past, some other projects they've done, they've painted the steps, and at Henry George Park, turned out real nice. Yeah, twice. Okay. Do you guys, figure of speech, does your group have any other plans for the future beyond this that you know of?
The only thing we've talked about, like, for us or future people is, like, the library and maybe extending hours, but besides that, nothing much.
Okay. All right.
Also, we are looking for a date now for us to be able to go to Montgomery so they can visit in our legislative delegation in Montgomery just to kind of see how they operate. We did that last year with the Junior City Council. They really enjoyed it. And it gives them yet another aspect of government to learn more about. So that's something that we'll be working towards in the next
That's a
3
great
months or so.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, Jillian, I want to ask you to help me with the next item on the agenda, okay?
Okay.
All right. So, once you come up here, come all the way up here. Would you like to?
That'll help her for her future endeavor, 15 years of running your job.
There you go. Go ahead and sit right here.
Oh,
Go ahead and sit down.
oh, nice.
Yeah, you're in charge now.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
the next item will be committee updates, which you're going to ask the council members if they have any committee updates, and we'll start with Councilman Martin.
Okay, do y'all have any committee updates? I'll start with you, Councilman Martin.
I don't have any, thank you.
No, ma'am, I do not have any committee updates tonight.
The Historic Preservation Commission is meeting, I believe, Wednesday afternoon at 2, and so we'll have an update after that.
3.
3.
Okay. So my update is Airport Authority meets tomorrow night in these chambers. We will be making some recommendations to the mayor for nominations for Airport Authority. And if she nominates those people, they will be brought to the council for final consideration.
Okay.
You want to go ahead? I'll let you start off, so
Oh.
any department head updates, if you'll, say, come right on up here and give your update.
Okay, is there any department head updates? You can come on up and give your update. Okay, thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Great job, Jillian. Okay, so before I have my two agenda items, I'll just give you all a quick update on the Human Resources Department. We are starting off the year with coordinating some departmental training on trenching and excavation, CPR for employees across the city, as well as traffic flagger training for our departments who work along the roadside. We attended a job fair in Bay Minette on January 31st, and coming up, we have another job fair it's a job fair / career day at Fairhope High School on February 27th, and then a job expo in Foley on March 11th. Some numbers for y'all. We are actively recruiting and interviewing for 25 full-time and part-time vacancies, as well as 12 summer lifeguard positions. In the 2024 fiscal year, we ended up hiring a total of 130 employees, and fiscal year to date, we've hired 25 employees. So that's since October 1st. As far as my agenda items, I have number 6 and 7. Number 6 is an ordinance amending ordinance number 1800, known as the Personnel Rules, Policies, and Procedures Ordinance. This is amending the incentives for recruiting new employees, and it is just the first read for that ordinance. We discussed it last work session. It is to add an exclusion for family members and certain employees, supervisors within the city. Any questions? Okay. Number 7 is a resolution also discussed at the work session 2 weeks ago, which would approve for myself, the mayor, and the treasurer, in conjunction with department heads, to reclassify vacant positions. So without formal approval from council, so long as it remains budget neutral or allows for a budget savings for that department.
Any questions, council?
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
See, we put number 15 on the agenda. I should have included this in the last meeting, but this is 8 more radios. This is for Public Works, for the sanitation crew. These are mobile radios. They'll be permanently mounted in the vehicles. This was a recommendation from our safety coordinator to have a better way to communicate than using their cell phones while driving these big trucks around. I think this is a great idea. It's just one button to push to talk. We're also going to, these radios are capable of capable of talking with our other radios, so it's part of the citywide system as well. Total cost is $36,000 for 8 of the mobile radios.
I see you want to transfer it from the vehicles and equipment to the small equipment.
I believe the city treasurer requested that. I guess George probably put it in the wrong budget line item. I'll blame George on that one. He's not here to defend
Yeah, so
himself.
it was in there, just on the wrong.
Wrong
line.
place.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
And it was budgeted for?
Yes, sir.
And it was budgeted exactly that amount?
Right. They kind of gave me a little bit of discount to meet my budget.
Oh, look at you.
Right, man.
Questions for Jeff?
All right, well, thank you.
Anything else?
Yes, sir.
All right. Where'd you go, to the nature center a while ago?
Yeah, so I was out there. I was checking to see how things were going. They're starting
Passed me
to.
at the flower clock there.
Oh, did I? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't wait.
No, you were watching the road, man.
That's good. All right, thank you.
I'll go tell you about it.
Next.
They probably, I think everything else is gonna be public work except.
Oh, we got the
except for
chief
number
now.
17, yeah.
We got the chief coming up now.
Yeah, I've got two items on there. One's a resolution for the approval of the professional architect design for the new precinct.
And, I would just say, council, as you all know, I mean, we don't want to get the cart before the horse. This is just picking the architect.
Yes.
They'll come back with a quote, that'll be approved, designs will be made, budgets will be approved for that. So this is just one step.
Correct. And then number 18 is an application for a special retail license. Everything checks out on that.
Everything's good there?
Everything's good.
Quick question on item 14. Does that firm specialize in police departments? I mean, is that something you have to have a?
I know that they
Specialty or-
have worked before with municipalities, so they are familiar. Any questions? All right, thank you.
More questions? Okay, thank you. All right, I'll jump through, let's see. Number 9, are we removing number 9?
Yes, pulling that.
Yes, okay. I think that the family has just requested, and we were going to handle that with a plaque at the base of the new flag when everything's done down there. I think they had, originally, I think we were thinking of giving them a flag, but they said that recognition, because they are actually the ones that funded that flagpole there. So I know it may look bad, but there's nothing nefarious. We're going to remove item 9 because that's not exactly what we're going to do. Yeah, I'll back up. Number 5, we will call on probably our attorney and also maybe Hunter to talk about number 5. Marcus, will you maybe send Chris a text and let him know that we may get started a little early today, but we won't discuss that until 6 p.m. Minimum. Number 10, Public Works. I think George is maybe at a meeting today. So, Mayor, you want to cover 6, or is there someone else?
I actually was going to introduce Will Maston. Will is our new city horticulturist. He's actually a landscape architect. He was recently hired, and I think he's going to cover that item.
Will, you want to talk about it?
I can do that. Come on.
The baptism by fire.
Yes, that's right. We wanted.
I wasn't going to have to talk.
That's okay. We wanted to introduce Will, but that agenda item is just basically a maintenance item. It's something that we do every year. It's a
Budget
not to
amount,
exceed,
right.
and it's only as needed to help with tree removal. And they did have 6 responsive bids, and it was a bid item. So, but Will be handling that most often, I'm sure, on tree removal. So, it's a good time to introduce him. Yes.
And I will say that it was pretty clear, the low bidder, they seemed to be a reputable company. They were clearly the lowest across almost all categories. We kind of broke the bid down by the tree sizes, according to the job, and emergency services for mobilization, and they seem to be the lowest on almost all categories.
No.
So they seem to be the best.
Speaks pretty good. What?
Yeah,
What?
I mean, he could have just covered it.
You got to speak
Yes.
more.
Good.
I'm shy.
No, right.
Where'd you get your landscape architect degree?
Auburn University.
War Eagle, baby.
I figured it was one of 2 places, and you were going to get some affirmatives, whichever one it
I
was.
wasn't heading over there to that other state.
That's where Jack.
Easy now.
I thought you were talking about LSU.
No, he's talking about Mississippi State.
Oh, I love Mississippi State.
There you go.
There you go. Look,
There you go. Well, thank you, Will.
Will's from
guys.
here. You grew up in Spanish Fort, right?
Yes.
Yeah, grew up in
Yep.
Spanish Fort. His family's from here, so it's great to have local people.
Well,
serve.
Well, welcome.
Glad to have you.
Yeah,
Yep, thank you, guys.
All righty.
Got any problems, see Jack?
Number 11 is approving the selection for the mayor to negotiate professional engineering services for the Pecan Avenue Watershed Management Plan, Phase 1. I had a real lengthy discussion with Mr. Johnson this morning. Mayor, jump in and help me out, but this is for the outfall. He said this would be done in multiple phases. This is a budgeted item. This phase one will take care of the bottom of the watershed. He said we'll work it from the bottom up to the top of the hill there. And this is just, and it may take 2 or 3 years to complete this, but it's the only logical way to do it. It's about $1.5 million project total. So this will not be that much. And I don't want to throw a number out there because I always warn people about putting numbers out there. But, we'll see how it comes back. But this is only for the engineering for the phase one. I get all that right?
You did.
Okay. All right. So item 12 was also Richard's. In a similar vein, this is just authorizing the selection by Mayor Sullivan for Christian Preuss Landscape Architect. The redevelopment and restoration of the corner near Drillwins, it's also known as formerly as Bancroft Corner, and it's been known as some other names in the past. But we're just not stating those because we don't want necessarily a name to be used that people think that's what it's going to be named. We can do what we want with all that in the future. But this would be to enhance that, once again, that Fairhope Avenue corridor that we started on the clock corner. It's just bringing it up to date. It's kind of run down there and freshening it up and making it user-friendly so people will use that corner like they do, like they do the clock corner. What am I leaving out, Mayor?
Nothing other than, I think you have a copy of the design. I think probably y'all have all looked at, y'all have all looked at some different conceptuals that we have discussed internally, and this is kind of a collective design. It does include kind of doing a fence area around that parking area there behind Julwin's, so you'll want to pay attention to that. But it is, again, it'll be a great improvement to that area, and it'll mimic really Gaston Plaza. So really excited about doing that there and being able to continue that work, in that alleyway there, hopefully between the Welcome Center, the Welcome Center Museum, and continue to make those improvements. And we'll just budget for one each year, hopefully.
Thank you subtly for correcting me on Gaston Plaza, too. That was very tactful there.
I didn't.
Not clock corner.
That's okay.
Okay,
That was your idea to call it Gaston Plaza, the plaza.
Well, I know. Item 13, City Council approves the selection of Mayor Sullivan for professional engineering service for the Summit Street outfall repair to Leave Engineering. This is also just selecting the professional engineering services. This would be for the outfall of the gully there behind the K1 Center. This is not expected to be a big expense. It's not expected to be a big, nor the engineering fees, nor the repair expenses. I don't want to put numbers in contractors' heads, so I won't state that, but it was in the tens of thousands, not the hundreds of thousands. So.
And it is budgeted already.
And this is also,
It
yes,
just-
11, 12, 13 are all, and 14, they're all budgeted items.
It's just being a little bit more expedited because of the rains that we had. It did cause some compromise there, so we want to go ahead and get that taken care of.
Okay, we covered 15, 16, 17, resolution that the council adopt the following on the basis of the recommendation from the rec board. Those are for the rental rates for WC Major Stadium with no rental fee reductions at $4,000 per day for a period of 6 hours for athletic events only and subject to liability insurance requirements. And this is something that's literally been in the works. And this was tabled, I guess, several council meetings ago, but this has been in the works for a few years at least. Councilman Martin can attest to the fact that the rec board has debated this multiple times. That recommendation was made by a split decision of the rec board. There were some that wanted to not rent it at all, not make it available for rent. There were some that wanted the rent to be $10,000. This was a compromise. We hear from private institutions that there are participants, residents of Fairhope that participate in some of the private institutions. But then again, we felt like it was still, a private entity, and that's a public stadium, and that there should be a fair compensation. And this, you can't build a stadium. You can't even build a small stadium and pay it off for, in 30 years and only spend $4,000 per use. And I mean, this, barely covers the cost of what it takes to mow the grass and stripe the field. It includes, the striping and things like that, and the scoreboard. Not the jumbotron, but the scoreboard. We thought it was a good deal for anybody that wanted to rent it. So, any comments on that, Councilman Martin?
I think you covered it all.
Okay. Okay, council members, do you have anything else?
16 was not
Department
discussed.
has any more comments? Maybe you
Council
have
President?
something else going on if you want to talk? Yeah, Lisa.
Agenda item 16 was not covered.
16 was not covered.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yep, that's pretty big. Yeah, let's cover that. I'm sorry. Thank you, Lisa. So item 16, the mayor or I could cover that. I'll give that a shot. The Blind Tiger has asked for a reduction in rent. Right now, they pay the maximum of, is it $1,000 a month or 3% of gross revenues?
It would be 3% of gross revenues or 400 and some odd dollars a
400
month.
something
Right.
dollars, okay, is that, either way, the 3% always exceeds the other dollar value. And so we're proposing to reduce their rate from 3% to 1.5%. And I believe that would be for a term of 6 months ending July 31st. There's some social media chatter going on about this, and I'll probably state this again in the council meeting, which may be here in a few minutes, is that, when a road is torn up, why aren't businesses, downtown, forgiving rents? Well, we don't rent to them, for one. Number one, we're not your landlord. We sympathize with that, but we're also, making the city better. We use taxpayers' money to light the streets. We use taxpayer money to plant flowers, to keep nice planter boxes out there, to make the streets that your customers drive on nice. And, and sometimes that comes with a cost. There's a difference. There's two differences that I see between the Blind Tiger down at the pier area and downtown merchants. And number one, we're not the downtown merchants. We're not their landlord. And we don't have any control over that. And number two, there's only one way to access the pier, one road. If you're downtown, you can park in multiple places if you choose to get to a place of business. Sometimes it may not be convenient, but when people are driving down that hill to go to the pier, they see all that construction. A lot of them just turn around and say, you must be closed. And it does hurt their business. So we're not eliminating the rent. We're just trying to make it fair during this construction time. I will also say, though, to the Blind Tiger, to be fair to the city, is that when we entered that lease, they were warned well ahead of time that there was going to be major construction going on down there and that they needed to take that into consideration. They acknowledged that. They acknowledged that they have to make improvements to bring things up to code down there. All those things were known far ahead of them entering into any agreement with the city. So there's just a lot of things that are said on social media that I feel are incorrect, and I just want to set this record straight a little bit if I can. Mayor, do you want to add on any of that?
I would just also want to mention that we have, done things like make sure we open that north end for additional parking and put signs up that direct people to the north end to park for the Blind Tiger or to visit the pier. We've also offered to run people from the parking garage with the shuttle down to the pier. So we have done some
And they
things.
will run you on the shuttle downtown to your place of business as well.
That's right,
downtown.
either way. But we've been trying to make some accommodations because we do know the construction is hindering their business somewhat, but we have tried to make accommodations where we could.
Council, any comments? No. Okay. All right. Department heads, I know maybe you didn't have an agenda item. Do you have any reports to give to the council? Like we're going to have a $500,000 expenditure on the next agenda or anything? Eric, you smile. I mean, when he starts smiling, you got to start worrying. Something's coming.
No, you don't. I'm just a happy guy. You know that. No, the biggest thing, the one thing that we deal with a lot, and I've said it before in some other meetings, is I would ask residents before they hire contractors to come in and do renovations, number one, make sure they have a permit. And I know a lot of folks don't, they see that as just, an inconvenience or something like that. But I tell folks, we are required by state law to verify licenses for contractors. We verify that they have the information and the engineering, if necessary, or things to do their project right. And we verify it's somebody that, and our permits are a legal written record. And it happens all the time. I get calls from people that have had problems with their contractor. They want us to come look at it, and it's a building that's half torn open and there was no permit. We couldn't verify where the contractor was. They've got the money and they're out the door. And at that point, we're limited as to our authority. If it's somebody that comes in town, does this, and then turns around and leaves, I can turn it over to the state investigator, and I talk to the state investigators for all the home builders and general contractors boards several times a month. But we've got like 3 or 4 active home builders investigations going on right now in Fairhope for things that have happened. And I just urge, my door is open. You can reach me on the phone. Just call and check. Let's make sure. I've had people that have been taken for a lot of money in this town over the last 10 years. And, that's why we're here. We're here for their health, safety, and welfare. And we're here to serve them. So I would just ask that they do that. And if we can get that word out, I try to get that word out as much as I can.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Good evening.
Evening, Ben.
So we put the 46 project back out to bid. Bid opening was last Thursday. We had 3 responsive bidders, so we got some pretty good numbers back. So that will be coming on the 20th. And then after that, we'll come back and let you know what the material prices are going to be. So look for those numbers the 20th. Well, I wasn't going to say yeah.
See there? He thought I better get up there and say something.
But glad we did what we did and put it back out. So we had
Better
more
price.
more competitive bids on this one. So that's about it. Anything for me?
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
So I'll just give you a little bit update of Phase 2 of cast iron replacement that will also be over $500,000. It's coming. We have the engineering package back from engineering, and we will hopefully bring that to you next council meeting. So be prepared for that. We will look forward to moving into Phase 2. We are excited about Phase 2. Phase 2 is going to be about twice as big geographically as Phase 1. We eased our way into this, and now we are full bore into this. So we will start getting the word out to our residents about the impacts and how that's going to impact. It's going to impact some businesses, and so we're hyper aware of those impacts. We're going to do our best to ease any issue that we have. We're going to catch everything hopefully on the front end so that we don't have to deal with it on the back end. But just wanted to kind of put that out there that we are moving fastly toward Phase 2 of cast iron replacement. So that's the big project for the year for the gas department. Well, Phase 2 is going to take a portion of downtown from the intersection of Fairhope and Section. Remember, we replaced Delamar 2 years ago, so take Delamar out. It's totally, when we came in and repaved that, ahead of that repaving, we went in and replaced all the main and services in there, so everything in there is brand new. But from there back to the northern boundary of Phase 1, you think about, so essentially Fairhope and Section back southwest over to, I don't want to misspeak, don't you put me on the spot. Probably 4 blocks southwest from the intersection of Fairhope and Section.
Do you know how many linear feet or linear miles was replaced in phase one?
2.3 linear miles of main. That was, in addition to that, there were 253 services that were replaced. And we're looking at almost twice that in phase two. We're looking at several hundred services in phase two. I don't want to give you wrong numbers off the top of my head on linear feet and numerical number of services, but phase two's big. It's really big.
Is it 5 phases total? Or?
There's 6 total phases, yeah. We did minus phase one, so
Yeah.
16.1 minus 2.3. So hopefully, we're on track to do a phase a year. We have budgeted this year. We had engineering of phase two, construction of phase two, and engineering of phase three. So really busy as it pertains to cast iron this year. It's obviously our biggest project we're doing. That and then the bore that you guys approved the engineering for last meeting for I-10. And so Mayor and I met last week about the impact of the bridge project and how that would impact or not impact our project. It looked like we're going to be well east of that project, so we should be good to go. So, and then that'll tie in, again, like we talked about last meeting, to the north boundary of where you guys approved that Doe Leaf Creek project back last year, where we replaced the line in Doe Leaf Creek at Alligator Alley. So we'll tie in on the north end of that project.
Well, even before that bridge project's completed, I think that there will be a widening. It will be 6 lanes, I believe, to at least Malbus, right? On I-10. Yeah.
Yeah, so,
But we cross it, yeah, we should be okay.
yeah, we're good. We've seen that footprint of that project,
Okay.
and we're well to the north and south of that, where we're gonna enter and exit. So we're right there at Doe Leaf Creek, at Alligator Alley, and then up on the face of the hill at Bass Pro Shop, going up the hill to the top of the hill at Spanish Fort Hill.
And it really just straightens out that line, because right now it kind of makes a dog leg.
It does, yeah.
So you say you've gotten in touch with AlDOT, and there won't be any new piers put there for, there's gonna be new on-ramps, off-ramps, built with the bayway, with the new.
Yeah,
bayway.
we're gonna be hundreds of feet outside of that project to the north and south. Several hundred feet.
We met to talk about that.
I guess the reason I can't, when I think of Alligator Alley, though, I
that
see it
far.
right there.
It's further south than you think, so you gotta think, when you come through that intersection at I-10, you go down that little hill, and we're a couple hundred feet. And that's still, we're probably, I would say we're 500 to 600 feet away from that intersection to the south. It's,
Yeah, Wes and I met after we met with Eastern Shore MPO, I kind of take that agenda and look at where we have utilities and make sure, like on 64, on 31, just make sure some of those projects that we're doing aren't impacting the utilities and how we
But you
make
keep
sure we're
saying
handling
to the
that.
south, but you say it's going under I-10, right? So
right, but I-10's east and west, we're going from the north to the south, directly under it.
I would think you would be, how far to the east of that intersection is what I would be wondering.
To the east of,
How far to the east of the I-10 overpass are you? Where you're crossing under I-10? I mean,
Going up to Bass
No.
Pro Shop.
yeah.
It's probably easier if you look at the map, and we've done
Yeah, I
that.
could-
So we'll get you a copy of the map so you can visualize it.
Right, I mean,
Yeah.
I-10 runs east-west, right?
Correct.
So
It's
that thing's
pushing
gotta
toward-
go
it's pushing-
North-south, so how far east of that intersection?
It's
are you?
pushing further, towards.
it's not necessarily, it's not far, it's just off the right, what's in the right of way of the 98 right of way. So when you're talking about east and west, it's not far east,
Yeah,
but our design, it gives us a depth that,
so when you say south, you must be talking about the terminus of that then.
correct.
'Cause
We're
it's running all
gonna
the way
tie
under
into that.
interstate.
We've got a line that runs north and south, and we're just gonna connect on the north and tie it into the south. We're just replacing an existing line. And then abandon in place the old line.
Dog leg, they're gonna make
We are making a crooked line straight, yes. A very crooked line straight.
Okay. All right. Any
That's it.
questions for Wes?
Questions? Thanks.
Good evening. So I don't have anything on the agenda, but I still felt obligated to come up here because it just wouldn't feel right if I didn't.
Hey, well, you're due a break. You've had plenty of opportunity.
You didn't know what to do sitting in stands without having to come up here.
Treatment plant 2, the water tank is well underway. So I don't know if I'm sure the public has seen it. If you guys have driven by it, it's quite an operation they've got going on. So I talked to the planning department. They're going to try to get us some drone footage. I kind of want to document everything, the progression of the job, just so we kind of have that on record. It's kind of neat for the future people to see the progression of that tank rehab. So treatment plant 1, treatment plant 2, they're rocking and rolling. I was out there today looking at both of them, and they're doing really good. So. Other than that, we have a lot going on, too many to list, but we're, just because I don't have anything on the agenda doesn't mean we're not moving, so. So we're doing really good. So, you guys have any questions, water and sewer?
Any questions for Darrell?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. All right, Hunter. I thought we were almost out of woods. Lee.
Yes, absolutely. Just a quick update. I know I talked to you, Council President, but there was a parking study going to be on the 20th agenda, an item for you to figure out if you wanted to approve. It's an unbudgeted item, but I think there's been a lot of talk about parking in the CBD. It won't make the 20th agenda. I want to make sure their timeline fits, and I'm still waiting to make sure if that is approved, when they can get started. So I am waiting on that and kind of missed the deadline for the 20th, but just wanted to keep you in updates in case y'all saw that agenda. So won't see you again until that meeting to make sure we're still shooting for the following meeting. So just to give you a quick update.
Very much needed.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. Anybody else? So, do you guys need a 5-minute break now? We're going to probably have to take a break because we're going to get through this pretty quick. We're probably going to have to take a break, come back at 6.
Let's just take one when we got
Why don't we take one at the end?
Yeah.
But we do have one issue, and that is, I am sure, is anybody here to give the invocation? Because I am sure they're probably not here that early, and I wouldn't expect them to be. So, Lisa, when they get here, do you want to handle that for us?
If they come in, they did not respond.
They didn't respond, okay. All right, so, Councilman Boone, as our unofficial chaplain, would you like to give the invocation tonight? Okay, we're going to go into the regular city council meeting now, and if you'll all stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance, I'll ask Councilman Kevin Boone to lead us in the invocation.
Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Dearly Father, Lord, we thank you so much for the many blessings you've bestowed upon this town and to its citizens, Lord. We thank you for everything you've done. We thank you for this council that overlooks the city, and hopefully you'll be with us, Lord, as we make these decisions to be what you would have us do. Bless us as we go along this day of this week. Lead, guide, direct us in all that we do, and forgive us for our sins. In your blessed name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, Councilman Boone. First item would be to approve the minutes of the 27th of January regular city council meeting and the work session. Do you have any changes, additions, deletions to those minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Second?
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as submitted. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. Mayor Sullivan, does this early start mess your report up? You have any proclamations to give or plaques to hand out tonight? All right.
The chief does have some presentations that she would like to do recognizing some personnel. So if you will allow her that opportunity, I'm going to cover what I have to first, and then I told her to prepare to have them here a little bit earlier, but it involves a couple officers, so hopefully they can be here. Couple things, just want to remind everybody, I'm sorry, I might be stealing your thunder, Councilman Conyers, but the library does have their champagne and chocolate this weekend. It is a benefit for the Friends of the Library, $50 tickets, and that is on Saturday night. So I would encourage everybody, if you would like to buy a ticket to visit the library, or I believe you can also do that online. Also, we have our online survey that will run through the end of the month, and this is a city satisfaction survey. It's kind of a benchmark for us to let us know how we're doing. Take comments from the general public on things that we can improve, how communications are, all that kind of good stuff. So I encourage everybody to fill out that survey. You can find that link online on our website. On the homepage at the top, there's a red bar. You can also get hard copies of that survey at the Nick Center, City Hall, in the warehouse if you'd prefer to do it hard copy. To date, we have taken in about 550 surveys, which is great. So the recreation survey that we did, I think we had 660 submittals for that survey. So really excited about people participating because, again, citizen engagement is what helps us kind of gauge how we're doing and make sure we're getting that citizen input to know that we're moving in the direction that our constituents expect. So I appreciate that. Also wanted to address one other thing that's been a hot topic on social media, go on record, talking about the benches at the pier. I feel like we've been talking about this for a long time. It seems like nobody has correct information and they're just throwing it out there on social media. Those benches at the pier were surplused at the last meeting, which means that we can now give those away. City property cannot just be given away. We have to do that through the proper channels, which is surplusing that through the city council, which we did at the last meeting. Y'all allowed us to surplus those benches and not give away the whole bench because when you pulled those up, they had large concrete boulders, especially the ones around, some of those that were around the pier. The other ones, a lot of them were in bad shape. So we are removing the boards where the inscriptions are or were and sharing those with the people who bought those benches. So we'll be giving, if people are calling us, we're letting them have those boards that have their inscription on it. The other thing is we are replacing the benches at the pier with a resin material. Councilman Burrell and I were talking today about that those benches are made out of, it's a resin kind of plastic material and actually glass. They mix that together. So you can't really inscribe on that wood. You don't want to do that. That's a wood that really lasts a long time or a material that really lasts a long time. And also, what we are doing is we are putting a plaque on those benches. It is not the plaque that has been circulated on social media. It is a more substantial plaque that is made of better material that will have the inscription of the benches on there. So people can get their boards that were inscribed. They will get benches back at the pier. The benches won't be the same, but they'll be nice benches with a nice plaque to memorialize whoever bought those benches in the past. Currently, we are not selling any more benches because we have a lot of benches already down at the pier, but there will be opportunity for people to purchase bricks at the pier. We're not ready to release that information yet. I'm a very visual person. They've started putting the pavers in, but I want to see where the inscribed bricks will go to make sure it's good placement, make sure I like the look of it. So we have not released that information yet, but there will be opportunity for people at the pier to have something if they want to do a memorial or dedicate a brick to somebody, but again, that information will be released at a later date. So want to make sure all that is cleared up and that folks understand exactly what's going on down there. I would encourage anybody to not follow social media to get factual information, to please make a phone call to the city and ask for the facts.
So just to clarify, the black plaques that I'm getting emails about is not what we're doing.
Those are not, that was a plaque that was done on a bench at the community park, and there was some extenuating circumstance where the person wanted something a little bit different than what we were doing, or we weren't able to route the bench. You know, materials of wood have changed over the years, simply because wood is not the same as it used to be. The treatment material is different and everything, so wood doesn't last near as long. So that is a bench that is at the community park. It is not the same type of plaque that we are using at the pier.
So let me just get this straight. You're telling me that I can't believe everything I read on the internet?
Don't believe our page.
Especially not, social, Facebook, anyway.
Just check.
Yeah,
Yep.
just make sure.
If you read on the City of Fairhope's social media page, don't believe anything you read.
And again, I mean, I'm not saying that we communicate everything well. I'm not saying that when you call the city, you always get the right answer by any means, because we're human. Some people don't always have all the information. We try to do the best we can to make sure, you know, our customer service reps, our communications team, everybody has the same message, but obviously we're human and we make mistakes. But if you hear something that you think, that just can't be right, please pick up the phone and call somebody else. Call myself. I'm available. I will return a phone call. It may take me 24 hours, 48 hours, but I will return your phone call. Okay? We'll see if the chief's ready.
Well, Chief, are you ready? Not yet? We got a space for you, don't worry. All right.
We can do it after a little.
We got it.
Okay, great. Thank you
We
very
got it.
much.
Thank you. All right, next item is public participation. If you want to speak to items 5 through 19, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. I'm going to be pretty generous with public participation tonight, seeing how we're getting such an early start. You know, we'll give people that come in a little later an opportunity to speak for agenda items. What we're going to do is we're going to skip items 5 and 6 and come back to those at 6 o'clock or later, but no sooner than 6 o'clock, since those are ordinances. So is there anybody here that wants to speak to items 5 through 19? Mr. Deguchi, you can certainly talk about them now, too.
Thank you. No,
All right.
this is short, though. About agenda item 5, which, as I mentioned to you last week at the Traffic Committee meeting, is very pleased with. Just to read the agenda item on the surface, it appears to be a way to control or staunch some growth in residential construction initially. Is that right?
Or I would say, you know, multiple occupancy projects, you know, more dense residential subdivisions, yeah.
Right, so that being the case, I think this is a great move, and I appreciate the council and the mayor and Mr. Simmons to consider that and for writing up the legalese to make that happen. I think you're going to curry favor with a large majority of the population here, the citizenry, and it's very necessary. I do have a question about it, though. There's a word in there, certain projects, certain MOPs would be subject to that, and it's a 9-month period. And I wonder, will there be metrics? What sort of maybe periodic reporting? What sort of activities will be done during that period to advise us about progress, hopefully causing the smart growth that Councilman Martin speaks of often?
And I want to try to answer that for you, Mr. DeGoots. I believe, and we got Mr. Chris Williams here, one of our attorneys that assists us with these items. Chris, I want to say that with the word certain, and I know that you zoomed, and I got your email like right before I walked in here.
Yeah.
So I think that certain is also pointing to, help me out here, those with the lots that are anything with lots less than 10,500, having 3 units or more with lots less than 10,500 square feet, that would be those certain applications.
That's correct. So the certain language was used in the introductory and the purpose and the title of the ordinance, but in section 2, it specifically lays out the framework for the applicability of the ordinance. Specifically, we said certain because it's not applicable to all multiple occupancy projects. It's applicable to those residential dwelling multiple occupancy projects. So it wouldn't be applicable, for instance, to a commercial MOP project. Just making that distinction, and likewise making the distinction, it's certain subdivisions of a certain size, not all subdivisions that would be submitting an application. So that was the reason for the language in the introduction and the title, but section 2, 2A, and B are intended to spell out exactly what it applies to.
Yeah. Let me try to also address your question about, reporting. It's some of the reporting may not look like reporting on something that is stopping the application process. So I don't know that we'd come to you and say, yeah, there were 10 people would have applied, because we won't know how many would have applied. But what that would look like would be, progress in our infrastructure projects, progress in water capacity, sewer capacity, whether that be phase 2 of the of the cast iron replacement, whether that be look like a parking study, the comprehensive plan is going to be overhauled. And then also, rules and regulations will be, I say could be changed. So you may see changes to our rules and regulations just to make sure that we have, smart growth, not unbridled growth.
Okay, so this will define the smart growth that Councilman Martin refers to, and thank you, Chris. So I understand that it's addressing the higher density. So are there goals, measurable goals, to be met by the end of this period to have shown some constraint?
Well, once again, I think that's kind of hard. If you don't allow something, it's kind of hard to show progress on a negative, on something that's a net zero, right? I would hope that the goals would be to come up with, smarter rules and regulations that our citizens want, and we, Eric referred to the old phrase, our health, safety, and welfare of our city. And I think that, for me personally, I would look at I don't know that rules and regulations help with the safety. It might if it comes to improvements in the streets, but I think as far as the welfare of the citizens go and the quality of life, it all speaks to the welfare. Everything that we're doing speaks to the welfare of our citizens.
So it's an intangible goal, but it's something
It's a pretty
certainly.
intangible goal there.
Very good. Then,
And that'd be up to the individual to decide, did we make your life better?
right. And
Did we make your city
you
better?
live here too.
Yeah, people are going to say no matter what you did,
Will there be a traffic study to address what's already been approved, yet to be built, so that we know what the capacity can be?
Yeah, well, that's
in the near
part of
future?
any of the projects that require, traffic studies. That's done routinely, and anything that's already in the pipeline that triggers a traffic study will be. But there is like I said, a parking study that's going to be brought to us very soon that was alluded to in the work session. So
Right,
that's
very good.
part of it.
All right, great, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for items 5 through 19? Okay, I'll close public participation, and we may open this up. Like I said, I'll be pretty generous with this today. Council comments, Councilman Martin?
Well, I just want to mention that we had a good turnout for the next door here. We had a drawdown for our kids and the Booster Club. And it was a good turnout. I think it went well. Mr. Cortines did a great job with that.
Ms. McDowell did a great job.
Mr. McDowell and his wife, Ms. Jennifer.
Not Mr.
All the people, all the humble people out here. But I just want to tip my hat off to our community and how we come together for our kids. And I just think every time I see it, it's a beautiful thing. So, good job, guys. Really appreciate it.
All right. Councilman Conyers?
Yes, sir. My comment, kind of piggybacking on what the mayor said earlier, the champagne and chocolate event for the library is Saturday, the 15th. I think that's close enough to count as Valentine's, so y'all, if anyone's looking for some ideas,
Yeah.
that would be a great Valentine's event,
Is that Saturday night?
Saturday night.
And I got me a good bottle of Blanton's, by the way, as always.
I don't know what that is.
Hey?
Yes, sir.
Please,
Please.
yeah, thank you,
cut the
thank you. Yeah,
gentleman
let's
off
get,
right
let's
there.
get that. Kudos to the city for the State of the City Expo that was last Tuesday. I had the honor of getting introduced to the mayor and listening to her comments. I really think that's just a great experience for everybody. Citizens who don't get the opportunity to interact with these people that I get to see every week on a day-to-day basis, and gives you guys the opportunity to answer a bunch of questions and put people's minds at ease that may not really understand what it is that we are doing to address all the different needs and different issues that go on a day-to-day basis. And I thought it was great. People seem to be really happy to hear what they heard. And that's always helpful for us, for sure.
Councilman Boone?
No comment.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Right. I don't have any comments tonight. I think I addressed them in my committee report. Okay, item 7, we're going to skip item 5 and 6 for now. Item 7 is a resolution. The City Council hereby approves the Human Resources Director's authorization to allow reclassifying vacant positions from a higher grade to a lower grade and to allow reclassifying current job positions and or titles with the same grade that remain budget neutral or better without having to obtain further approval. That would be from council, and the workflow for these changes will remain the same. Approvals by the city treasurer, the mayor, and the human resources director. Now, Ms. Noonan had briefed us earlier tonight on this. Also, at the last work session, she gave us a detailed presentation and example of that. I think we even had some items on the agenda that would have been affected by that. It's just basically streamlining the government that says if somebody is going to a lower grade, and we don't have to increase budget. The budget would remain neutral or even better. They don't have to seek council approval to move forward with those. And this is not something that's going to be done every day. So anyway, do I have a motion to approve
On
that?
that resolution? Yes, sir.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item 8 is a resolution. The city council hereby approves and authorizes the Fairhope Junior City Council to move forward with their bench proposal for Flying Creek Nature Preserve with an approximate cost between $250 to $300. The Public Works Department has agreed to assist with purchasing the materials and replacement of 2 benches. And Ms. Nichols, Jillian Nichols was here, the Junior City Council.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Was here at the work session to give the presentation, and it all sounds good. I think it'll be a great project for them, so we look forward to that. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. Item 9 is being removed from the agenda at the request of the family. A plaque will be placed at the flagpole for the family that provided the cost for that. That's the family of Mr. Barry Booth, including Mr. Barry Booth himself. Item number 10 is a resolution to award bid number 2513 to Looks Great Services for our citywide tree removal annual contract for the Public Works Department for an annual contract amount of $50,000. This is as needed. This is and also a budgeted amount. I'll entertain a motion to award the bid.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Our new employee, Mr. Will, did a great job presenting that, despite being told he didn't have to speak tonight. Good speaker. Auburn Tiger. All right. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second, clerk? All right. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you. Item 11 is a resolution. The City Council approves the selection by Mayor Sherry Sullivan for professional engineering services for RFQ PS 25-21 for the Pecan Avenue Watershed Management Plan, Phase 1 to Jade Consulting, and hereby authorizes Mayor Sullivan to negotiate the not-to-exceed fee to be approved by the council. This was also 11, 12, everything on the agenda was discussed in a work session earlier tonight. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the selection.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and that selection will be negotiated fee schedule and brought back to council. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item 12 is a resolution. The City Council approves the selection by Mayor Sullivan for Christian Preuss Landscape Architect for professional architectural services for RFQ PS 25-22 for redevelopment and restoration of the corner area near Julian's, formerly Bancroft Corner, and hereby authorizes Mayor Sullivan to negotiate the not-to-exceed fee to be approved by council.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item 13 is a resolution. The city council approves the selection by Mayor Sullivan for professional engineering services for RFQ PS 25-20 for the Summit Street Outfall Repair Project to Lieb Engineering Company, and hereby authorizes Mayor Sullivan to negotiate the not-to-exceed fee to be approved by council. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. You know, once again, if you're just walking in, these were discussed earlier in the work session. These are all budgeted items, and once again, you know, we'll get a chance to approve the payment on this. This is just a selection. Any other discussion? Okay, you're hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item 14 is a resolution. The city council approves the selection by Mayor Sullivan for professional architectural design services for the new police precinct to Paul Carpenter Davis Architects, and hereby authorizes Mayor Sullivan to negotiate the not-to-exceed fee to be approved by council.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Same story as the previous three. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item 15 is a resolution. The city of Fairhope approves the procurement of 8 Motorola APX 1500 enhanced 7/800 megahertz mobile radios plus accessories and programming on the Alabama statewide contract for the Public Works Department with Motorola Solutions, and therefore does not have to be let out for bid. The total amount not to exceed $36,000, and authorizes the city treasurer to transfer budget from the vehicle and equipment portion of their budget to the small equipment portion in the amount of $36,000. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Budgeted item as well. In fact, Jeff said he talked them down a little bit in price to fit the budget. So all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Item 16 is a resolution. The city council hereby authorizes Mayor Sullivan to temporarily suspend a portion of the gross proceeds for the Blind Tiger Fairhope, doing business as the Blind Tiger, for 6 months, from 3% of the gross revenues from the restaurant and concession sales to 1.5% due to the impact of the ongoing waterfront revitalization program. The amended term shall commence February 1st, 2025, and terminate July 31st, 2025. All terms not specifically amended herein shall remain in full force and effect. The original percentages shall return to the agreed 3% on August 1st, 2025. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
I have 2 motions, 2 seconds. Discussion. I just say, if you're just joining the council meeting, you know, we felt like this was fair. The business has been disrupted quite a bit with the waterfront restoration project. You know, we hear that some downtown merchants are upset that they weren't given breaks in the amount that they have to pay when projects go on downtown. And we'll say, you know, we sympathize with you, but we're not your landlord. And, you know, we are this business's landlord, and we think it's only fair. They have one way in and one way out, and there's a lot of construction going on. And we've really, you know, tried to help them, and we regret that if you're downtown, you feel that way. You know, I feel like you have multiple ways to access, and I think it's an apples to oranges comparison. So, any other comments? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you. Item 17 is a resolution. The city council adopts the following on the basis of the recommendation from the Recreation Board for WC Major Stadium, if available, with no rental fee reductions, to increase the current rental rate of WC Major Stadium to $4,000 per day for a period of 6 hours for athletic events only, subject to liability insurance requirements. City-sponsored events are exempt. This only includes use of the field, striping, scoreboard, and lighting. No use of the Jumbotron will be allowed except by Fairhope Middle or High School. We'll entertain a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? This was also discussed at length in the work session. Okay. Hearing no other discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. Okay, motion carries. Thank you, council. Item 18 is an application for a special retail license of more than 30 days by Lowry Holding LLC, doing business as Sally, located at 406 Pine Avenue, Fairhope, Alabama. As stated in the work session, Chief Hollinghead said everything is good, the application's good, and she sees no reason to deny it. So I will entertain a motion. Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay, the application's approved. Thank you, council. Item 19 is a reappointment to the Tree Committee. This will be a reappointment of May Moss Parker for a 3-year term ending February of 2028. I'll entertain a motion for the reappointment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of the reappointment, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. Okay, motion carries. Chief, are you ready for your presentation? Yeah, hey, Chief? Chief? We were going to go in, if you're ready now, we'll do it. If not, we're going to take a recess and come back about 5:55. Would you rather do it at 5:55? Well, we can't come back in 10 minutes because then we'd have a 15-minute wait again. Let's make it 5:55. Will you do that? Or have you got too many? You want to hang out here for 5 minutes and wait?
Yeah, we'll wait.
We'll wait for you. All right, just come in when ready.
They got a lobby full of police. I'll do whatever they want me to do.
All right. Yeah, folks, we're in a holding pattern. We're way ahead of schedule, and we're going to postpone items 5 and 6 until 6 o'clock. Yeah, well, is there anybody else here that wants to address the council? Public participation? Let me let this lady go ahead of you, since you've already had one turn done.
Hello, my name is Ann Brandt, 103 Riley Circle. First, I'd like to say thank you, Mayor Sullivan, for returning my call today. And yes, I was the one that sent a post because I was concerned about, wait, I have to turn this down. I was concerned about the benches.
Benches,
here
okay.
in town.
All right.
And I really did, I think at the end of my post, I did try to say, please contact the council. And a couple of times through the conversations, I tried to say, talk to your city council member. But just kind of in summary of the feedback that I was getting from most people is that they felt that the style of the benches now that had been in place were much more personal and kind of emotional in a way. In one way, they're like a monument you'd see at a cemetery. But a lot of people come and they sit on their grandparents' bench, and they like to go there to just kind of visit their grandparents, whatever. But that kind of connection is what an awful lot of people had. And I don't know, perhaps, I don't think I realized that the benches with the resin wood is just for the pier area.
It's for the pier and the circle, and that's all. Yeah.
So would people still be able to get a wooden bench someplace else in town?
We don't have any more locations for wooden benches at this time, not unless it's going to be at a recreational park or somewhere away from the bayfront.
Okay,
We don't have any more room for benches at the pier at this given time.
okay. I know when I first came and started visiting Fairhope, and I had never seen benches like this before, it just kind of seemed like get to know me, get to know Fairhope. Just that personal touch.
They have a charm to them, right?
I'm sorry?
They have a charm to them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I just felt I should share at least a lot of the comments that were made in that post.
Thank you.
So,
Well,
and I understand that probably was more maintenance to those benches. But these are people here in Fairhope, and they're not, and it's taking care of the people here in Fairhope versus the development that people are complaining about and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I guess I've just asked you on behalf of them to please just consider some way to make it better.
So if I may address this, and I'll just piggyback and maybe just repeat what, yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Were you here when I spoke earlier?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you know there's gonna be a bench there, like I'm gonna talk in my mic. My grandparents have a bench down around the circle. I mean, it's been there for years since my grandfather has been deceased, and we did it in memory of my grandmother too, who is now deceased. So I understand the emotional attachment to those benches. Though you will have a bench down there with an inscription on it, it just will not be the wooden bench that has the routing done on it. The benches that we're putting in will last so much longer than the wooden ones, and they will stay nice and in good shape. The wooden benches just fall into disrepair. And so for me, I can still go down there and sit on my grandmother's bench, or every time I walk past it, I can screenshot a picture of it and send it to my cousins, and like, I'm here at grandma's bench, which is what I do. But at the end of the day, the benches that we're putting out will last much longer and will have a much better presentation.
And Mayor, that little black plaque that's being circulated, that's not what's going on.
That is not what's going there. It's a much more substantial plaque that will be, we're hoping it's going to be a kind of a bronze color. We're kind of waiting on a sample, but it's going to be a much better plaque. It is not the plaque that has been circulated on social media.
Will it be bigger printing on it so that people can read it when they're walking by?
Yeah, you'll be able to read it. It's probably going to be something that's around this size. It's not going to be huge because you don't want to put that kind of big plaque on a bench. I'm thinking it's going to be around this size. Or something that, and obviously it'll have to be a little bit bigger or wider based on the number of lettering. But yeah, that's why we're waiting on a sample now.
Okay.
Okay?
Great.
And you also, Mayor, you described that the existing bench, like you said, we surplus them at the last meeting, which means the families of those honored will be given that section as a keepsake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think any of us can try to argue the charm or the personal taste. You know, we're not trying to advocate that one bench is more charming than the other, but as you mentioned, a headstone earlier, the thing that came to mind was that the people that had wooden headstones put up a long time ago, they're forgotten to history. You'll never see those, but the people that have marble ones, they'll be there forever. And so maybe not a good analogy, but it's the best one I can come up with. I think that the quality of these will last for generations to come, you know, long after we're gone, when that next council member doesn't remember that and they want to replace it with somebody else's name. These people are going to be memorialized for a long time.
The other thing I will mention too is that the wooden benches, I mean, they are great, but they have, I mean, wood material, like I was saying earlier, isn't what it used to be, and they do fall into disrepair. But I do think that people will appreciate the fact that these benches are not going to do that. They are made out of material that's very durable. Hopefully, they're going to withstand all kinds of weather. That's what they're warranted to do. So again, I think once people get used to it, they're going to be pleasantly surprised. And again, I apologize for the miscommunication that's gone on. The other thing is, again, I spoke and I said, I'm a very visual person. So it takes me a little bit when we're doing these projects. I want to make sure they're done right because they're 50, 100-year projects. They're not just something that's going to last for 10 years. So I want to make sure when we do something that we do it right, that we visualize it, that we know what it looks like, that we make sure we have samples. So at the end of this project, in late summer or hopefully late summer, that we have a good product for the citizens of Fairhope and for our visitors.
I'm sure that they're happy that their bench still will exist. The biggest part had to do with the charm and the folksy, and this is Fairhope. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. All right. All right. We're going to have a presentation by Chief Hollinet of Fairhope Police Department now.
Good evening. Thank you for your patience. If I'd known we were going to finish up so quick,
Well, we
we'd have
didn't
been
know we
here
were going to be so
a lot
good,
earlier.
tonight, so.
So, well, first of all, I want to thank all of you, the council, the mayor, for your ongoing support to the police department. Y'all are always gracious to let us come up here and do presentation and share and celebrate significant milestones for the dedicated men and women who serve our wonderful city. So we're here today to celebrate an important milestone in the careers of several outstanding members of our police department. Today, we're here not only to recognize a group of dedicated officers for their well-deserved promotions, but also to honor two exceptional officers who are receiving the Officer of the Quarter Awards. This is a chance to recognize the hard work, leadership, and dedication that each of these officers has demonstrated in the service of our community. So first, I would like to recognize Charles Varnado. Charles, if you just come forward. Charles is being promoted to the rank of lieutenant. Lieutenant Varnado has 22 years of service. He has excelled through the ranks and divisions within our department. His professionalism and leadership are admired by colleagues and community members alike. Lieutenant Varnado has taken on a new role as a support service commander over corrections and dispatch. The next one I would like to recognize is Joshua Cryer. Josh has been promoted to the rank of sergeant. Sergeant Cryer has served in both the patrol and investigative divisions within the department. He has shown exceptional leadership and is well prepared for the challenges of his new role as a supervisor over the investigation unit. Next, I would like to recognize Logan Duplachain. Logan has been promoted to the rank of corporal. Corporal Duplachain has consistently gone above and beyond in our investigation unit, solving complex cases and ensuring the safety of our community. He embodies the values of our department and continues to be a role model for others. Corporal Duplachain will be serving our department in the patrol division where he will be leading a team. And finally, Andrew Babb. Andrew is being promoted to the rank of corporal. Throughout his career, Corporal Babb has been the driving force in our K-9 unit. His dedication to serving others is commendable. Corporal Babb will be serving in our patrol division, providing leadership to his team. In addition to these promotions, we are also proud to present the Officer of the Quarter for third and fourth quarter of 2024. First, I would like to recognize Corporal Logan Duplachain as a recipient of the third quarter award. During this quarter, he worked tirelessly to solve several complex burglary cases where he recovered stolen property to include firearms. In addition to his daily duties, he is the department's sex offender compliance manager and most recent accomplishment of joining our special response team. And then lastly, I would like to recognize Officer Drake Rollins. He is our recipient of the fourth quarter award. During this quarter, he made several felony and misdemeanor arrests, to include a felony fentanyl trafficking case. He worked this case from beginning to end, ensuring more of this deadly drug was off the streets. These recognitions, both promotions and awards, reflect the dedication, courage, and excellence of that define our department. To all the officers being honored today, thank you for your service, your leadership, and your unwavering commitment to our community. Congratulations to all of you for your achievements. Give them a round of applause. Council, thank you very much.
Okay.
Mayor, thank you.
All right, we're going to go into recess. We have a couple of ordinances. We've already been through the entire agenda except for items 5 and 6. We're going to come back, start at 6 o'clock sharp, and we're going to give people an opportunity for public participation on items 5 and 6, and then we'll consider those, and that'll be it. So we're in recess for about 13 minutes. 10 minutes.
Hey, we gotta get that.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and reconvene the council meeting. We did get started early because we had a light work session tonight, and we have probably one of the lightest agendas that I've seen in quite some time, thankfully. And so and our rules allow us to go during the time for work session into council meeting, but we did not address items 5 and 6. I am going to do something a little unprecedented and ask everybody to please rise for a second invocation, because Reverend Bill Quinn, Associate Pastor at Trinity Presbyterian Church, was here, and he was 20 minutes early, in fact. So nobody, well, I want anybody to say you were late. You were early, but we were way ahead. So
Well, you have a late agenda, that means I can give an extra long benediction, maybe a sermon.
sure.
Yesterday. Next time.
Yesterday.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you for today. This is a day that you made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. You have blessed this community, Lord, with such abundance, not through our great works, but through your grace, Lord. Let us not forget that. Let us be humble in that. And let us take the blessings that you have given us, and let us have wisdom. Grant us wisdom, Lord, with all of these resources. Grant wisdom to our mayor and our city council, that they make wise decisions, not just for today and our own interest, but also for future generations and our children and grandchildren and their children. So just grant us wisdom to do the best that we can and match the wisdom of our forebears who gave us this great place to live in. We also ask, Lord, that you protect our law enforcement officers and our public works employees as they go about doing the work that we ask them to do. Be with them, Lord, and guide them safely. In your Son's name, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Good job. Yes, sir.
All right, and we said the Pledge of Allegiance in the earlier phase of the meeting. So I'm going to open up public participation to agenda items only. Once again, as I said earlier, since we were so early, I was going to be generous with public participation tonight. So if you want to address the council on items 5 through 19, although items 7 through 19 we've already voted on, we'll still take your comments on those nonetheless. So items 5 through 19. If you have anything else to address the council on, we'll do so at the conclusion of tonight's meeting, which will be very shortly, because I don't think these two items are going to take a lot of time to go through. So items 5 through 19, anyone? Okay, no one for items 5 through 19. I will close public participation, and in just a few minutes, give you another opportunity on matters that weren't on the agenda. Mr. Simmons. Item 5 is an ordinance of the City of Fairhope, Alabama, to protect the health, safety, and general welfare of the people for the temporary suspension of consideration of certain residential multiple occupancy project and subdivision applications in the City of Fairhope and for other purposes. Would somebody like to introduce the ordinance, please? Okay, thank you, Councilman Martin.
Thank you, Council President. This conversation kind of started with our comp plan, and as we're moving into regulatory changes and amendments, and acknowledgement that that comp plan is going to be redone, probably our regulations. So in coordination with council, I think really wanted to take a hard look and maybe not put a Band-Aid on it, but fix it as stemmed from this ordinance. It speaks for itself. What is suspended during this time frame, while we look at some amendments to our ordinances, get some infrastructure studies back, and have a chance to evaluate how we want to move forward in the long range. So if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, but
okay.
I think the ordinance is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. And Mr. Williams, would you like to make any comments in regards to this ordinance?
I can if there's any questions. The intent is to apply to multiple occupancy projects that are residential in nature, so not applicable to commercial MOPs. and also for certain subdivision of lots of a small size, less than 10,500 square feet. Applicable, if council passes, it would be in effect for a period of 9 months, as stated in the ordinance.
Okay, so, council, I'm going to just hit some high points of this again. Whereas there's been rapid and substantial growth in and around the city of Fairhope, and whereas the city council recognizes, and I would say more than just the city council, I would say the mayor and the staff recognizes that explosive growth has increased, that puts a burden on public utilities, roads, and other infrastructure. And also, the city council desires to address certain challenges created by the growth with a strategic and deliberate focus on orderly land development in the city limits. And also, the city is in the process of taking several steps to address the rapid and substantial growth over the next 9 months, including but not limited to exploration and completion of additional wells for water consumption, construction and installation of millions of dollars of new water and wastewater infrastructure and facilities to increase service levels and capacity, completion of upgrades and extensions to existing water and wastewater infrastructure and facilities to increase service levels and capacity, completion and analysis of water and wastewater sewers capacity studies, consideration of amendments to the existing Fairhope subdivision regulations, comp plan, zoning ordinance, and review of traffic and parking concerns. And also, the city council believes the short-term suspension on the consideration of certain residential dwelling multiple occupancy project and certain subdivision applications will allow the city staff, council, planning commission, and outside consultants to evaluate and focus on these specific steps to address identified challenges. And City Council determines suspension on consideration of these residential dwelling multiple occupancy projects and certain subdivision applications is appropriate to prevent conditions that may threaten the community's health, safety, and general welfare. The suspension of this limited duration and limited scope would be in the public interest and promote orderly land development. The purpose is there, 9 months. There are the MOPs, and also affects subdivision regulations and subdivision applications, which would not be allowed under Article 4 of 3 or more residential lots smaller than 10,500 square feet per lot as set forth in Section 2B. And now, 10,500 square foot, I believe, would be R2, so nothing less than what we would consider R2. So there are reasonable allowances. I'm not saying it would be approved, but we're not denying an application if you had a subdivision of R1 or R2. It's mostly focused on lot sizes less than 10,500 and what the aforesaid multiple occupancy projects. Did I?
If that sounds
Go
good.
ahead, Hunter.
One thing to add,
Please.
this is not a suspension on zoning ordinances. However, a lot of those applications may include these type projects. As we're revising our regulations, I'm personally not at a final decision. We make a recommendation as well as the planning commission, but I'm going to be very hesitant to make a positive recommendation until we work through some of these questions. But again, won't be the final decision. I just want to kind of say that for all the folks that may be coming in with a zoning application. I don't want to, until we get a resolution on what those amendments may be, I don't want to step out and have a zoning change that may conflict with what we may result in these amendments.
Correct. Okay, council, any discussion?
Well, this is something we've been kicking the can down the road for a while now. We've been seeing kind of these things develop in front of our eyes, and I think it's time that we kind of put the seatbelt on. As council president says, maybe a caution light, however analysis you want to look at it, but I think it's the right thing to do. I think our constituents are for this as well, in my opinion. So I'm excited for this for a little while, so we can kind of, it just gives us a chance to get our hands around the bear. I think we're moving a little fast, in my opinion. So I'm happy to see this. We may have to extend it, who knows? Just putting that out there. 9 months may not be enough. I'm just putting it out there, we'll see.
Any other comments?
I just think, when looking at this, I want to say in the time that I've been here on the council, we've had 4 or 5 different pauses of some type. So it's not that we haven't taken this into consideration before. I think what might be different this time is we're trying to weave it in, as you said, with the comp plan, with updating some of the rules and regs, and maybe doing a really deep dive into that. And you know, every time we've done this, I think we've had a reason to, but you know, Fairhope has certainly grown tremendously in spite of all those different pauses along the way. And I think this is an opportunity for staff to really dig in and get the work done that's so difficult to do when you have the kind of activity we've had and just the pace we've had. So I know y'all be busy.
And just to clarify for those listening, and this is a pause within our planning jurisdiction. There, as you have all seen, heard us talk about, there are plenty of developments outside of our planning jurisdiction that we do not have any control over. This will have no impact on that to the extent that they have to apply for anything within the city of Fairhope. This will only be within our planning territory. As much as we would like to be able to control everything, we can't. But this is what we can control.
And just to follow up, because I know every pause there has been a lot of other questions. This does not stop every building permit. There are some projects already on paper, not being physically built. So there will still be some construction going on. This is for new applications coming in, so.
Councilman Boone?
What y'all, everybody said, and everything else said, that we really like it, and it's done, and I'd like to make the motion.
I was going to suggest that. Thank you, sir. We have a motion to suspend with the rules. Okay, we have a second. I think it's a great idea. I think that time is of the essence. Clerk, if you'll call the question.
Council President?
Aye.
Place 2? Place 3?
Aye.
Place 4?
Aye.
Place 5?
Okay, so we just suspended with the rules, which means we can vote for, that's a vote for immediate consideration. So now I'll ask for a motion for final adoption.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion? Thank you, council. Clerk, if you'll call the question.
Council President?
Aye.
Place 2? Place 3?
Aye.
Place 4?
Aye.
Place 5?
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, council. Thank you, Hunter. Thank you, Chris, Marcus, Mayor, staff, worked on this. All right. Item number 6 is an ordinance amending ordinance number 1800, known as the Personnel Rules, Policies, and Procedures Ordinance. Item 5, employee benefits, amending Section P, incentives for recruiting new employees. If I can have someone introduce this ordinance.
I'll introduce it.
Okay. This was discussed in our prior work session. It was discussed in more detail 2 weeks ago in the work session. This is related to exclusions for family members. I do not believe we need to rush this. I don't think that anybody wants to vote on this immediately, so if not, we're open for discussion, but I will let this lay over for the next meeting for final adoption and discussion. Is that okay with everybody? Okay, so ordinance item number 6 will lay over, and I will go back to public participation for about the 4th time tonight. So if you have anything else to bring forth before the council, you'll come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. I'll give you 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Donald D. Gutz. My home is 110 Blakeney Avenue, Fairhope. I'll speak as quickly as I can. First of all, I want to thank Chairman Burrell and Mayor Sullivan and the others on the Streets and Traffic Control Committee. I attended the meeting there last week, and I was very pleased to observe the careful consideration of citizen input, whether it's one or several, to any particular esoteric item. I brought a couple of my own, which I had a chance to present after the adjournment, but I do hope that there is follow-up. It was regarding setting the pedestrian walk signals at Fairhope and Section Street to a setting that would give the pedestrians a white walk signal with every green light without having to push the button. Now, I know there's considerations about traffic control and backups and things in certain cases. I presented a copy of a study about that to Mr. Johnson, who had to leave the meeting promptly at 3, so I didn't get to discuss it with him. But I do hope that you'll consider what, or observe, as I have observed, people standing in the hot sun waiting for a white signal that's never going to come without pushing the button. And even if they push the button, if it's after the previous green, they have to wait for another cycle. So the system does allow, and I think for those of us who spent some time in cities as pedestrians, it's always a welcome signal to get the white hand without having to push a button and have the safety of the right-of-way, if you will, because people are walking against the signal. And we're going to have a couple of more of these soon, I think, Bancroft and Fairhope, Church and Fairhope, so that'd be great. So I appreciate consideration of that. Another item, I'm going to call it derelict structures and prominent spaces. Earlier, the mayor mentioned that she's a very visual person. So with regards to the visibility of, in particular, 3 structures, there are others, but 3 structures that are in such prominent places entering, leaving our city. The old Hacienda restaurant, Mexican restaurant. I know there was some work going on there for a time. It looks like it's been suspended. That's the corner of Volanta and North Section Street. I'm not sure. I'll just speak out of turn. I believe it's owned by the owner of Southwood Kitchen, so perhaps there's a way to encourage them to continue the work, or perhaps if their intentions have changed, to give someone else a chance to develop that. It is prominently placed, and it doesn't look very nice. Another is the Barron's Inn next to Gambino's in the tourist resort district. I know it's owned by Mr. Vera's family, and it's in a state of disrepair. It's in a tourist district. We should hopefully, I don't know, Mayor, and for lack of a better term, issue an executive order, something that could get some movement, some progress, and improvements in these properties.
Mr.
And
DeGuy,
I'm not
ask you to wrap
saying
up
pull
here.
any
Give you a few
property
more
rights.
seconds now.
Okay, I know, I'm sorry. And the old one, the third one again is the corner of Church and Fairhope. The hotel project has been proposed. There's been a lot of discussion in a circular way about the parking situation. I think Mr. Simmons mentioned there's a parking study. I hope that will go towards supporting that effort. And one last thing, the 311 service requests is a great tool the city introduced, very easy to dial in a service request. I've used it often, and I've gotten some wonderful responses and good work from our Public Works and all the people who act on these things, so I really appreciate it. There are some things that are visible in our city, and street signs and things that need to be adjusted or replaced, and they've responded very well. I would like to see statistics about it, maybe some kind of presentation that shows how frequently it's in use, how promptly these requests are answered, and promote the system. I think it's a great way to improve our city and give the citizens an easy way to chime in, so thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. DeGuy. Okay. Anyone else? Podium is open. Okay, I see no one else. I'll close public participation.
Council President, I just let Mr. DeGuy know and everybody else, we have a building permit application in and under review for the building at the corner of Atlanta and North Section.
Okay. Well, I've heard a motion for adjournment. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, council.